Welcome back to Bronx Legal, where we open the doors to the courthouse to give you your legal rights and options. I'm David Lesh. Join in on the conversation, 718-960-7241, or email show or segment ideas or questions to davidlesh@bronxnet.org. Here with us today is attorney Peter Tilem, a senior partner at Tilem & Campbell. He's going to share with us the most violated traffic laws in the New York area and the consequences associated with them. Let's keep going.
Okay.
We got more stuff here. Okay. The most violated traffic laws.
Speeding.
Speeding.
I mean, hands down speeding. And I think there's a twofold problem here. Part of this is the speed limits are too low in a lot of places, and part of this is people just have lead foots.
The speed limits are too low. And if you go to Europe, you know that the speed limits are too low because they give you the right to drive a little faster. Okay. Speeding. What are the consequences generally?
It's bad. I mean, what's really remarkable about speeding is one violation, you can lose your license. They get you in a school zone that's 25.
Is that true? One violation?
One violation, 40 miles over the speed limit, 41 miles over the speed limit or more, and that's 11 points. You lose your license at 11 points. How
do you get it back?
Time. The answer is time. It's usually suspended for 60 days, and there's nothing you can do.
All right, so you're telling me in a 25-mile-an-hour school zone, you're going 41 miles an hour.
41 miles
41
over.
41 miles
right.
over. Okay,
66.
so you're going 66 miles an hour. That's pretty fast.
That's pretty fast.
But even so, let's say you're doing that.
One time.
One time, you lose your license?
That's correct.
How long has this been the case?
It's been the case for as long as I've been practicing.
A long time?
Yes.
Okay, because, well, listen, at least I know I haven't gone that fast. All right.
But I'll make it a little worse, which is that a 6-point violation in New York gets you into the elite club of the driver responsibility assessment. Yet another tax on the driver. $100 a year for 3 years.
Wow.
For a 6-point violation, it's $300. And that's for any time you have 6 points, and it's $25 for each point over 6. So you get a 6-point speed, one 6-point speed, which is 21 miles over the speed limit, and you're in the club, and you pay the driver responsibility.
So really, is it a revenue-raising issue, or is it a punishment issue if we're at that area when you're really thinking about it?
Well, let's be honest. It has nothing to do with, in my view, with punishment. You're paying a fine, you're paying a surcharge, and then after the case is over, you get a little note from the Department of Motor Vehicles that you owe them $300.
Number 2, driving with a suspended license.
This is a biggie because...
Why does everybody do this?
Well, it's not that they do it, it's that it can happen so easily. You get a traffic violation, and you send it in, and the court loses it, or you don't pay the fine after you pled guilty, and guess what? Your license gets suspended. That's a misdemeanor if you're driving around with a suspended license.
Misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor.
All right, just explain for the public, by the way. That's different than a violation.
When we're talking about speeding, when we're talking about speeding, even 41 miles over the speed limit, that's a traffic infraction. It's not going to leave you with a criminal record. You're not going to do any jail time, realistically. Right. Misdemeanor's different.
Misdemeanor goes on your record.
Misdemeanor goes on your record.
And everything.
That's right. This is a crime, and it stays on your record for life.
Okay, let's say I was driving with a suspended license. I get pulled over. I didn't even know it. I didn't get anything in the mail to tell me that my license was up. I forgot. It happens. You know, you're a couple days late. What do I do?
Well, I think that in these situations, you want a lawyer, because this is the kind of thing you don't mess with. This is a misdemeanor. It's a crime. And I get a lot of calls from people who want to expunge criminal records. Okay. You can't do that in New York. There is no mechanism to do that.
Tell them what does expunge mean?
Well, expunge means that you want to make the criminal record go away. You want to make it so that there's no record of you having been convicted of a crime. Well, there is no mechanism to do that in New York.
It doesn't just go away.
It doesn't go away, so you're stuck with it. And when you're charged with a misdemeanor, and most judges will require that you get a lawyer.
Okay. Let's keep going. DWI.
DWI.
Oh boy, this is a bad one.
It's a bad one. It's an expensive one. It's a dangerous one, and that's another crime. Again, conviction for DWI.
I would think this is the worst one on the list, by the way. I mean, you got to know by now. I mean, if you're driving while you're intoxicated, I mean, you have no one to blame but yourself at this point.
I think that's absolutely true.
I mean, there's no excuse for that.
I think that's absolutely
What
true.
have you seen with the DWI cases? Are the judges throwing the book at the violators?
Well, you know, look, this is a bad time to get accused or convicted of a DWI because there was just that horrific accident on the Taconic Parkway.
Right. Going the other, she was going the other way, right?
She was going the wrong way, and I think judges are taking notice of this. And look, judges are afraid. Judges don't want to be the one to give you a break and then have you go out and hurt someone.
That's right. That's right. But sometimes they knock it down, though, don't they? From DW, driving while intoxicated, to driving while impaired.
That's correct.
Do you see that?
We see that quite a bit, and that's what a good lawyer is going to try to get you.
But is that still a misdemeanor? Or is that a violation?
That's a violation. That's a traffic infraction. Instead of being a revocation of your license for 6 months, it's only a 90-day suspension. But most importantly, it's not a crime.
I had a friend of mine who was in law school. He was pulled over, DWI. He was able to, even though he pled it down to driving while impaired, he still lost driving privileges for a year. His mother had to drive him to law school every day. And, so I guess even if you knock it down to driving while impaired, it's not a cakewalk for you.
Well, look, these suspensions and revocations are mandatory, and I've seen situations where the judges make mistakes, but the Department of Motor Vehicles will impose the right suspension.
Which leads me to an important question: mistakes. Can you appeal this decision? How does it work?
Well,
because most people think you could just appeal. Well, I don't like what the judge said, so I can go someplace else. Does that work this way in traffic court?
No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. In order to appeal, as you know, there has to be a mistake of law, and you have to be able to point to a mistake, a legal error that the judge made that would have changed the result.
Okay, all right, let's keep going. This was a good one, reckless driving. I would assume reckless driving is just a little bit more than your usual going through a red light.
This is another bad one. That's more than going
worse
through
than
a red
DWI?
light. Well, it's not worse than DWI, but it is a misdemeanor.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know that. Reckless driving is generally a combination of bad behaviors on the road. So,
give me an example.
So, for example, if you run through a red light at 50 miles an hour in a 30 zone, that may constitute reckless driving. It's when you really put people in danger. It's a misdemeanor, it's a crime, it can leave you with a permanent criminal record, and it's 5 points on your license. Remember, we said 6, and you get that driver responsibility assessment. So that's a lot of points in one shot.
Okay. I want to go a little bit farther because we don't have much time left. Red light ticket.
Red light ticket. Red light ticket, 3 points. There are the two kinds. There's the kind you get in the mail that we discussed earlier. That's no points. That's just a parking ticket. They don't know who was driving. That goes to the owner. But if you're driving the car and the officer asks you for your license, then that's a moving violation. That's 3 points on your license. And insurance companies don't like that one.
Okay, now, all right. Let's get your contact information up, because someone may need you for a traffic violation. Let's go. Tell me where they can find you.
Okay, well, we're located in White Plains, New York.
Okay.
188 East Post Road in White Plains. We have a website that's very easy to remember. It's drsummons.com, DRSUMMONS, and we have a number, 877 Dr. Summons.
Okay, we got that up on the screen too. Okay. So I assume it's a small little thing, like you're texting, you may pay the fine, you don't need a lawyer, but anything else, obviously you're going to need somebody to go to traffic court for you, am I correct?
And, again, texting while driving, no points. You start getting those high speeds, call a lawyer.
You need a lawyer. Okay, Peter, thank you. It was really a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
It really
Thank you.
was. All right. That concludes this edition of Bronx Legal. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us, and of course you for watching. Now, if there's a legal issue or topic you would like to see discussed on Bronx Legal, email show or segment ideas to davidlesh@bronxtech.org. And remember, know your rights, know the law, know your options. We'll see you next time.